We're gonna be starting off with some news that came from the Do at Night Abyss official Japanese channel on YouTube. It is involving the upcoming updates to, I believe it's the secret letters and the next immersive theater units. So let's see what's actually going on here. So Do It Night Abyss official is the official JP channel. This was a post on their YouTube. Notice of changes to secret letter requests. The following secret letter requests will be updated with the update on Tuesday, November 25th. After the 25th update, secret letter Fina and secret letter Dream Feathers will be replaced with secret letter Psyche and secret letter Hope Abundance. So I think that's the translation issue, but it's supposed to be opposite. And will be added as limited time rewards in the experience theater. So the immersive theater, they're gonna bring in the new character, and which would be Fina, and they're moving Psyche into the I guess would be the bosses. So let's see here. Secret letter Psyche and secret letter Hope of Abundance will be replaced with secret letter Tabitha and secret letter Chains of Solitude. And those will be added as challenge rewards for the Echoes of Nightmare. Yeah, so Psyche will be moving into the Echoes of Nightmare slot that Tabitha currently exists with. So if we look at the Echoes of Nightmare, so the Nocturnal Echoes, we see that currently Tabitha is here. So in here, Psyche will be getting swapped, and Tabitha will be going into the shops here, which is pretty cool. So going back to that, right? So with the Tabitha and the Secret Chains of Solitude will be moved into the shop here. So with that, so we're going to be getting a new character. That's great. New character to grind for. There's some additional changes though. Secret letter Tabitha, okay, will always be available for exchange at the secret letter request shop. Yeah. The reward change for Echoes of Nightmare will take place after the update on Tuesday, November 25th. However, the rewards available for this week's Echoes of Nightmare will not be reset after the update. So if you clear Echoes of Nightmare prior to the 25th, so the 25th is the Tuesday of that week. So if you do all your clears on Monday, you will still be able to do them for Tabitha if you want them, but I don't see why you would. I think you might as well just wait till the update on the 25th and start grinding for Psyche, if you want to build Psyche, right? Please note that the number of rewards available for this week's Echoes of Nightmare will not be reset after the update. Moon Hunters who wish to try Secret Letter Psyche or Hope on this should choose to challenge the course that best suits them along with the update to the Experience Theater stage accompaniment and recommended stats will also. Oh, okay. So that's this is separate, right? So now, okay, yeah, the translation isn't the greatest here, but Secret Letter Hope on this should choose to challenge the course that best suits them. Yeah. So basically, if you want to use your runs on Tabitha, feel free to do so. However, on the 25th, that Tuesday, so you'll have the Monday to do it, but then on Tuesday, the 25th, it'll reset into Psyche, which that's probably what I'm gonna do. I might not run the Psyche actually because I'm kind of farming for Hellfire just for the sake of doing so because I like her. But yeah, if I'm still gonna wait. I'm not in a big rush to get Tabitha. So along with the update to the Experience Theater, Stage Company, and recommended stats will also be reset. Okay, so recommended stats are going to be wind and dark attributes. So it being a Nemo again kind of tells me that they might go into this rhythm of one of the previous elements is going to stick around every time. So I would assume that, like, let's say next time it's going to be dark, and whatever attribute Fina is, which I think we can check, right? So Fina is a Lumino. Fina is a Lumino unit, right? So I have a feeling that that's what they're kind of going towards, where the character that you're gonna unlock will probably become the next the second pairing. However, that does kind of get, thrown on the wayside because of the fact that it started Pyro Wind, now it's Wind Dark. Next it'll probably be what, Dark and Lumino, I guess. That would be it. I guess they needed the first one to be an element plus wind so that they can kind of continue that trend. But yeah, I have a feeling that that's kind of going to be the trend, where it's like the second attribute is what's going to stick around. So it's going to be like Pyro Wind stuck around for Wind Dark, then it's going to be Dark and then Lumino, and then probably Lumino and then something else, etc. Below. But that's just a random assumption on my end here. Let's continue. Below are some of the stage accompaniment abilities that will be active in this season's Immortal Masterpiece. Decision Variations, Song of Wind and Darkness. Increases enemy units' wind and dark damage taken by 400% and reduces damage taken by other attributes by 50%. Okay, so yeah, just these two, the same as before, except it's wind and dark damage, which is kind of a good thing, which means that those who build Psyche off of the last Immersive Theater get to have something to push early on. Another good thing is that with it being dark damage, a lot of people have already some semblance of a Barencia build, which this is kind of what I'm running. I'm probably gonna push and figure out something so that I could run her in the future for that. But you have some semblance of this build somehow, because I think most people probably have her built in a way. It also leads for those who went straight for Fantasio. I don't know how anybody built this character. I don't know if anybody is actually playing this character, but he gets the ability to shine now, and then alongside with probably Outsider, and then again Psyche, and pretty much all the Anemo units that are good right now. So it looks like it's opening the door for a lot of characters. We'll probably try and get an Outsider build going for the Immersive Theater as well. Outsider, Barencia is gonna seem good, and then I don't know if I'm gonna go for Fantasio. That might be a little too much for me. I have other characters I want to kind of unlock before I get to this guy. He seems cool though. So let's look at the rest of the bus before we actually decide if we're gonna be using some of these units, because as we know, last one had ranged weapons, so that could change a big thing. So next, Furious on Dante, Asuka Pursuing Magic. When an allied unit deals weapon damage, the critical rate increases by 20% for each additional attribute effect on the target. This effect can be stacked up to 4 times. So if it's increase for each additional attribute effect on the target, I wonder if, could you technically get 40% of an increase if you're running a Daphne support and dealing both Anemo and Umbro damage in it, or something like that? So if you're running 3 different elements, I wonder if that will increase the target. But it can only stack up to 4 times, so it might not be that crazy of a thing to really worry about, because as long as you're doing 20%, you'll be eventually able to get to that max crit rate. But that's cool. Crit rate builds are probably going to be used here. Obviously, and it's not restrictive, so it just says weapon damage. So regular weapons, consonance weapons are all going to be buffed by that. Let's move on here. When an allied unit consumes 50 SP, skill power increases by 20% for 15 seconds. This effect can be stacked up to 5 times At maximum stacking, the unit will not be knocked back when damaged. This sounds really cool because you can just run a skill-based um Berenica build that just allows you to spam the E skill, um, which is kind of what I had going on here. So you could just keep spamming your abilities, and you'll get some nice benefits off of that, which seems cool. All right, like that seems nice. Um, I'm sure this is probably gonna work with just staying in her buff state with the just staying in the air, throwing slashes too. So I think obviously Berenica is an Umbra unit, dark unit, so she's gonna be really good in this one in general. But I do like how they've changed. It's not just extra damage from ranged or whatever. This one seems a little bit more versatile, at least. Andante of Cooperation, Introspection of the Soul reduces the critical damage of allied units by 50%. But when dealing skill damage, there's a 100% chance of an additional attribute effect being activated. Interesting. Okay. So, yeah, so it looks like these two kind of go hand in hand. So this immediately kind of counterplays the amount of crit rate you're going to get by limiting the amount of critical damage you're actually going to be dealing. But when you're dealing skill damage, there's 100% of a chance for an additional attribute effect to being activated. So you start getting more additional, just overall additional attributes, additional effects going on, right? So if you're building like a high crit rate skill build, you're not only going to be critting a bunch, your damage is going to be halved. Well, it can be dropped down by 50%, right? But when dealing the skill damage, you're going to have additional effects going on. You're going to have additional skill power increases. So overall, I'd imagine as long as your build is kind of tuned into this, the negatives are highly going to be outweighed by how much extra buffs and just overall stacking is going on. So I'm excited. That seems like a fun one. We're going to try and build Berenica, however you say her name, and probably just run some of the same supports as I was running previously. Probably try to get the MC build up a little bit more since she gives some pretty decent weapon damage. And then kind of see where we go from there. Maybe we also build some outsider, or yeah, maybe we build some outsider, see if he can do something. RIP to Lynn. I'm probably never going to use her again, even though I got her Intron 6. I'm just kidding. But rip to Lynn for now. Psyche is obviously still going to be good. So there's a lot of options. Honestly, I like this. The way these are sounding. I like these changes for the next immersive theater because it seems like the amount of units you can use has increased by a bunch. Honestly, the current immersive theater we have with Pyro and Anemo and range weapons really limited the amount of units you could use, which I didn't like all that much. But these upcoming changes to the next immersive theater stages seems really cool, and it seems like it's gonna have a good amount of mix. Given that there's umbral damage, Lady Niffle might even make a spot because with high investment she starts dealing a mix of umbral damage, I believe. I forget which one, but one of her skills gives her extra umbral damage. I forget exactly which one, but yeah. So she deals some extra umbral damage too. So maybe, who knows? Maybe there might be a way to clear some of the later stuff with Lady Niffle too. But who knows? It seems like overall, my point is with these next upcoming changes, it's looking nice in terms of the variety of the amount of units that can be used, and we're finally gonna get Fina in the game. So yeah, that's kind of it for these this news here, I'm gonna get back to building some characters.